Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. And then item 14, which is the Ōtautahi Christchurch Planning Programme Endorsement. Yeah, Ōtautahi. No, you're right. Ōtautahi.
Yes, Rissy. So the yes, I'll just very quickly.
Yep.
I am taking it as read. The council has been briefed on the Ōtautahi Christchurch Planning Programme alongside the Greater Christchurch Spatial Plan, and more recently as part of a briefing on growth modelling and development contributions. In endorsing the programme, that's including the attached document, the council will be agreeing to the prioritisation of local area planning areas and as a framework to guide future planning.
Oh, that's a quick, concise introduction. Questions? Sarah, do you have one? And Yanni?
Is it impacted at all by the information we got in the memo the other day on prioritisation and funding and resourcing for the planning program more broadly?
The memo circulated last night. Certainly the capacity of the team is limited given the plan change program and the local area planning program proposed. Ultimately, this decision is about agreement to the framework, and we can discuss resourcing separately. Yeah.
All good. Yanni?
I just wanted to check in terms of the priority areas, the issues around that sort of industrial residential, which are largely focused in the Bromley and the Woolston and the Hornby area. But I see Hornby's kind of got a flag, but those other two don't. Do we need to signal that we will be doing work in that area as part of this, or is it just, do we just accept that there's other work underway?
I mean, as a priority, there's the industrial residential interface plan change. We think that should proceed, as that will identify some options as well through that process. And any network planning can pick up some issues that may be identified through local areas in terms of infrastructure and open space planning. But beyond that, this is signalling that we need to prioritise those areas as identified in the Greater Christchurch Spatial Plan.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And then the other question was, we've had some concern around the impact of intensification on things like traffic management and capacity for things like our sports fields. We had a deputation, and I'm just wondering, is there any work happening at a more global level in terms of spatial planning around the impact of intensification and what it means in terms of our transport network, e.g. not just requiring people to provide car parks on the private development? I know we can't do that, but what is the consequence of having 1,000 extra vehicles in a small area without any sort of intervention? And what's the impact on things like our sports fields, for example, or our community facilities?
So certainly that is part of local area planning, and that's when we look at those options within areas of more detail. That requires a more intensive focus on particular areas and what's offered. So it's very localised, and that's the sort of planning that occurs through this program.
And that's looking at streets in an area in a more holistic way, rather than just looking at car parking. It's thinking about the whole of that space and how it's used. And for instance, the lineup of wheelie bins along the footpath, crowding that space, the outcomes sought in terms of trees, the use of the road space in terms of the balance between parking, cycle space, potential widening of the footpath. It's the local area planning work is about looking at all of those things together rather than just parking in isolation. Yeah.
And that's identified at the different scales through the program. So this looks at the neighbourhood level, it could be the catchment level, and then linking and integrating in with the wider network planning.
Right. So in terms of the data we have to inform the priority areas, do we have a sense of the areas that have got the highest number of new apartments consents for building? So like when I look at this again, like it looks like that Woolston area, which has had massive amounts of intensification, or that Linwood area slightly to the south, is missed out, and yet that's possibly where we've got some of the biggest increases.
I mean, intensification is occurring across the city. We certainly, that's one of the inputs that when this prioritisation has resulted in identifying those areas as what we call the first tranche and the second tranche. I mean, that's when we do need to focus on those particular areas. It's where we want to encourage the most growth and redevelopment. And it doesn't mean that other areas over time may also have a local area planning focus, but this is certainly going to keep us busy for the next few years.
The other point to add is the Greater Christchurch Spatial Plan did identify Eastern Christchurch as a priority regeneration area. Within that area, which is large, there's existing and local area planning work that's been going for a number of years and will continue, including Linwood Village, New Brighton, but work's also commencing on looking at regeneration opportunities within Linwood, the commercial centre, and surrounds, and that work will advance. That's recognising that a significant amount of intensification has occurred around Linwood.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Are there any other questions on this one? Has it been moved? No. Do we have a mover? You move? And Councillor Scandrett will second. Templeton. Thank you. Any debate? All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Well done, everyone.